And welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah. Okay, Chairman's duty number 1, fire safety. If there are any fire alarms going off, then no practice is scheduled. We are told the fire escape through the door behind Mike is in working order. Failing that, we have the main steps. Behaviour policy, I think we can take as read for the moment, as there are no members of the public present. Apologies for absence. We've had apologies from Paul. Yes. Would anyone care to move that we accept his excuses? Right.
Thank you.
Good. Declaration of interests. Does anyone have any interest to declare?
None that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of.
Ditto, none that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Public participation. Is there anybody online?
Not so far, Mr. Chairman. No, but I'll keep my eyes open.
Right. And have we had any inquiries?
No, none.
Okay. Right. Minutes of the last meeting. Does anyone have any issues concerning? 19th of September. Jenny?
No.
David? Mike?
I was absent.
Roger? Wendy? And I don't have any issues. Can I have a proposal and a seconder that we accept them?
I'll propose. Thank you, Jenny.
I'll second if you like.
I'm abstaining, Wendy, please.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Certainly. Right, so in that case, shall I sign the minutes?
Please.
Every page or just the end?
Initial every page and sign at the end, please.
Oh, sign where it says dates on the date where it says signed. I assume that what you've put in front of me is a printed document does in fact relate to what's on the screen.
It does, Mr. Chairman, yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
right, okay, good. Moving on. Chairman's verbal update report. Right, 6.1, the current budget. That is to say, this budget for this year. The last accounts that I have seen are for the 6 months ended September. Those have been circulated. They contain no surprises and they are broadly consistent with the budget apart from timing issues. I have not yet seen the accounts for October. They were promised by Rachel last week, but they were supposed to be available today. She said she had some technical problem about which she was not specific. I'm sure they will be available very shortly and I will distribute them as soon as possible. Budget for 25-26 is in preparation. We have had no formal discussions of the budget so far. We are due an informal discussion at our next business meeting. I have incorporated all the adjustments that people have mentioned to me, but if anyone's got any bright ideas about what they want to incorporate, please let me know before it is too late. I don't want to go into specifics of the budget at this stage.
John,
Yes.
can I assume, broadly speaking, that the hall's refurbishment programme is basically going to suck up most finance that could be available for other things?
We have no choice about
No, I appreciate
bringing the
that.
halls in. It will certainly put a massive strain on our resources. And unlike last year, unlike 24-25, in 25-26, we will have no surplus reserves to absorb the shock. I don't know what the numbers are going to be. Just running into the next item on the agenda, 6.3, the halls. We have received 7 tenders. They range in value from about 350,000 to 650,000 plus VAT. Osmond Tricks are currently going through them all with a fine-tooth comb to remove all the areas of uncertainty and to look for value for money. They have told me that their report will be available on Friday of this week. and their recommendation of the final contractor. And there is a meeting with Osmontrix on Tuesday of next week, at which we will discuss their recommendation informally before it goes to council. And I will circulate all the papers in good time for that, as soon as I get them. At the moment, I think that the costs will be pretty well in line with the estimates that we've already included in the budget, but I can't be sure. I mean, what we put in the budget for this year was basically best estimates plus a guess plus 10% for luck. And that may have been totally wrong. I simply don't know.
So, yeah, it's gonna soak up pretty much all the money, I think.
Yes.
It is.
Well, I mean, currently we agreed that we would attempt to do the halls project out of existing funds and reserves. So if there's more that you want, then we'd have to look to borrow that instead and reschedule how to do it. But that wasn't the agreement of the council at the time.
The problem,
But it's always there as an option, but
it is there as an option, but borrowing money takes a lot of time. It's a very bureaucratic process, and
you've got to pay it back
you've got to pay it
with
back.
interest.
Yes,
Yes,
with
lots
interest.
of it.
Yes. Yes, if you were to borrow, oh, I don't know, let's say, the cost of the project, £500,000, the whole lot, for example, and we pay it over 50 years. That's hard, 100,000 a year just to repay the capital.
5 years.
It might be 5 years.
Yeah.
50 years is the longest possible time you can have.
Yeah.
But it is still an awful lot of money. Over 5 years, it's £1 million a year to repay out of a precept which comes to less than £1 million. And that's ignoring the interest. So I would prefer not to borrow because I don't think it would actually help us very much. And we would have to go to the public for the precept increases anyway.
Yeah.
To prepay the loan.
So it's a rock and a hard place, isn't it?
In fact, it's a rock and 200 places because North Somerset and its devolution of services to town councils will also put a massive strain on our resources.
May.
All right, May. I'll accept May for the moment. And if it does, it's quite likely that it costs us at least as much as the halls every year.
May.
Maybe. Pessimist.
Nothing agreed.
Nothing agreed. No, I take your point, but we have to put something into the budget to
Yeah.
cover the contingency.
I mean, it's right and prudent to plan for every eventuality, isn't it? That's what we need to do, and that's what we're doing. So I think
That's what I'm trying to do.
I
Yes.
think we're on the right track for that one.
We keep our shopping bags closed.
We may have no choice about that.
Mm.
And that is unfortunate because there are projects that we would like to go ahead with, or at least some of us would like to go ahead with as a council anyway.
Mm.
And everything's going to get crushed. I don't think there's much more I can say about the halls at the moment. I'm just waiting for the reports to come through. VAT, we have had the report from Parkinson's, which I have circulated, and I have done some further analysis, which particularly takes into account the differing viewpoints of the people who pay the precept and the people who actually hire the halls. The impact of VAT is not going to be the same on each of them. I'm told that we cannot discuss this officially here at the moment because although I have written a paper on it, I would like to discuss that informally afterwards, if you all have time. Finally, buildings insurance. We have had a report from BCH, I think they're called, with up-to-date replacement cost figures, both including and excluding VAT. Much to my surprise, most of the numbers are broadly similar to what we have already. The big difference is the Folk Hall itself, where we need a massive uplift. There is a complicating factor in terms of accepting their recommendations, is that in that it is conditional on whether we opt to tax any of the properties. If we opt to tax, we can recover any VAT on rebuilding costs. So we don't need to insure for that element. If we don't opt to tax, we can't get back the VAT and we have to insure for more money. So we're not in a position to make a judgment on that until we've had the council meeting at which the option to tax recommendation will be discussed.
I was going to say, now we know that there's a shortfall on the folk hall, can we not increase the sum insured accordingly, and as our status stands at the moment?
I'm very happy to do so.
I'm just thinking we're exposed if we don't, aren't we?
Yes.
And we now know
Yes.
that we're underinsured.
Can you pass on instructions to Rachel to go for the maximum level of cover possible?
I think it would be safe to do that just in case.
You always got it back.
Yeah.
There will, of course, almost certainly be an increase in premium, which shouldn't be too bad, given that most of our insurance is about public liability and such like things.
John,
Yes,
in terms of the replacement rebuilding costs, is there an assumption that you're starting off from a clean site? In
the
other
assumption
words-
is that you're starting off with a heap of rubble that has to be cleared.
So, right, so a clean site then. So in effect, I mean, the worst case scenario is if this building catches fire, the shell would still be there, wouldn't it?
It might be.
So, you know, and I'm just sort of.
I mean, the
wondering how
replacement
you
is
assess these
for the
things.
entire building.
Yeah,
Yeah, the basis is on clearance of site and rebuilding of the building pretty much as
Ground
it,
up.
as it stands at the moment.
Yes.
So the only thing that you probably wouldn't have to do is foundations, which are still there, would
yeah,
build on foundations and the
yeah, good
and the
point.
services in the ground. But you would have to assume that the building had to be knocked down whatever was left of it and started again.
Mhm.
That's your worst case scenario, I think.
And those figures are judged on that, based on
Yes.
that, yeah.
Yes, I think I circulated the complete report to
Yes, you did, yeah.
So if Rachel can contact the insurers to uplift to the maximum possible. And there is nothing else that I know of that ought to be included in the chairman's verbal update. If anyone has any questions, I'll do my best, but otherwise we will move on to council objectives. Paper to follow, it says. Has that in fact arrived?
Hasn't, no, we talked about it, didn't we, about 2 weeks ago, and Emma was going to take it on in terms of trimming down my list of about 120 objectives, I think.
Some of which were tasks rather than objectives.
So I'll send Emma a reminder about that.
Right.
And the council objectives are all linked up with the performance management policy and the work Paul's doing on the council plan or council strategy for the next 2.5 years.
So shall we defer consideration to the next meeting?
I'll get that road.
Right. Right, we have 4 lists of payments, correction, 3 lists of payments. Start again, 2 lists of payments, yes, here. One from May, consisting of 3 papers from May 2024. Aren't they a bit late in coming? Were they missed out earlier?
I think there might be, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any issues to raise on any of those papers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just a couple of questions really. One was related to an invoice going out to Staddens for doors. And I thought, what's that about? Because do I assume that some of the doors here in the folk hall have already been measured up for replacement? Or are these doors?
Was it the front door?
Recently,
I think
Front
it was the front door.
Door. Ah, right.
And I think
right,
it was
right.
timber for the frame rather than the door itself.
Well, that could account for it. I can't find it now, but it was pretty expensive. Staddens, here we go, 2,000, £2.5 grand, doors, Folk Hall and Redcliffe Bay,
Yeah.
deposit.
It says
Yeah,
deposit,
we've
yeah.
had work done on both sets of doors.
So we're just talking the external door here?
Yes,
And Redcliffe Bay has had
Right.
its doors rejigged as well.
And because this is a metal door, presumably that's all additional.
That's
Right, okay.
It says deposit, so I'm guessing there's more to come.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Another couple of thousand.
and this is just supply of materials, it's not fitting. Staddens don't do fitting, do they?
Yeah, must have been with supply of
It's just
materials.
materials, they're just a timber yard.
Pricey. Okay, and I wondered whether there was any update on the election expenses, whether you'd received any notification from North Somerset
Yes,
Council.
we have had a breakdown of the costs, which I will submit to next full council meeting for approval.
Does the £14,000 bill include 2 elections or 1?
It includes two.
Which 2?
Now you're asking me.
The general election and the
Uh,
simultaneous council election or a by-election as well?
East
by-election.
Ward and South Ward,
Yes,
wasn't it?
yes, it's the two by-elections.
Yeah.
7,000 each.
Yes,
So that was tagged in within the
Yeah.
general, wasn't
yeah,
it?
I'll send the papers out to everybody so that you can see them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So have you had a breakdown
I
back?
have, yeah, yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
And they confirmed that those were the right amount, they didn't accidentally overcharge us.
no, afraid
No.
not.
I thought that might have been the case, but.
It's
yeah.
actually quite a detailed breakdown. It's quite interesting. So,
Oh, perfect.
So can we expect the same amount for the current?
Yeah.
Need to,
Yeah,
Rough-
it'll be
rough-
around
roughly
about
half,
7,000.
roughly half, yeah, of the 14, yeah.
Okay.
And Wendy, without causing any offence, but could the council try to avoid buying anything from Amazon, please? As there isn't an invoice from Amazon for coat hooks, and whilst I appreciate that it's easy, there are other suppliers around out and about, and I'm an anti-Amazon person. But I don't know.
Not
Is-
anti-
We're on the-
actually
We're on the committee.
pro-local, yes, pro-local person
Well,
is what you want to
that's-
say, yes.
we do
Well,
attempt to buy local as
Yes,
much
yes,
as we
yes.
possibly can.
Fortunately, sometimes that conflicts with value for money. It pays you money, it takes your choice. Right, so any other queries on the lists of payments? Right. We also have the detailed income and expenditure account, which I think has already been circulated. And these are for the 6 months ended September, so it's fairly ancient history at this stage. Does anyone have any issues they wish to raise? Take that as no. Right. Apologies, sorry.
Can I just go back to the accounts?
Yes.
You and Wendy will have seen that I had an email exchange with Rachel about the
Nationwide.
nationwide account,
Yes,
Yes.
and the money that went in and out of the Unity Bank, which is fine. It just made me wonder why we don't, even if it's a silent account that we don't spend from, why we don't look at that on a regular basis, as it's one of our.
we should be.
Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't actually know what it's for. I
That
will
reminds me,
investigate.
I have been asking you for a summary of all the bank accounts,
Yeah.
mandates,
Yes.
the terms on which they're held,
Yes. Yes.
Is there funds
and
in
their
that
fund
account?
and their purposes. And
Yes, I think that's all ready to go now, John. So I will
Okay,
chase
can
that up.
My understanding is that Nationwide is a savings account, so
Yeah.
unlike the other accounts we use, it gains some, more interest at any
Yeah.
rate. And it does appears once a year, I think, our end of year accounts. And I was quite surprised to see it then, and I think I asked whenever we saw the end of year accounts 9 months ago,
Yeah.
what's this
what
account
it
I hadn't
is.
seen? It
Yeah.
just strikes me if it isn't appearing, and even if it stayed stable, we ought to just see it as part of the bigger picture,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Okay. I will
That's a very
investigate,
good-
David,
yes.
and come back to you.
Thanks.
at the last, well, at the end of September, there was £112,000 in it, and it was earning 4.25% interest. which is a reasonable-ish sort of market rate these days.
Mm.
But unfortunately, most of our money does not get anywhere near that.
Okay.
And I wanted to undertake a review of our banking arrangements simply once we've got other things out of the way,
Mm.
because I think we could do slightly better.
Mhm.
Okay, right. Anything else on the list of payments? And then income and expenditure account? Does anyone have any issues they want to raise on it? No? Okay, let's move on then to the pay award. Do we have a paper on that?
You have a paper in the papers.
A paper in the papers,
Paper
yes.
in the
I'm
papers.
trying to find it.
And the staff award was about 2.5% on each spinal column.
Right, plus a number of lump sums, correct.
Yes, it's backdated to the 1st of April this year.
Right, and the new pay rates, they each increased by 1,290 per annum. Is that as well as the 2.5% or less than?
No, no, that is it.
That is it, okay.
Yes.
Is there anything we can do to squeeze that more tightly? He says with the Scrooge hat on.
No.
Is that
this
not a nationally
This is a
set?
national.
It is a national
settlement,
settlement.
yeah.
Yes, so I guess that's out of our hands.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are we contractually bound to follow it?
You are, it's in everybody's contracts.
Okay. Okay,
Yep, no room there, unfortunately.
but presumably we are at liberty to pay more
Indeed,
in the
Yeah.
case of
Yeah.
uh,
outstanding.
deserving
performance.
unpaid volunteer
Yes.
counsellors and so on. Right, okay. Moving on, the removal of 2 sales ledger bad debts. We have one for £470 who appears to have absconded from the town, and one for £76 unable to get hold of.
No naming and shaming here, is there?
There should be,
No, I think so too.
But
Well,
and I'd like to know whether they are
what's
this.
it for? And just
These are
want to
for
know
hall rentals.
for rentals,
Hires,
okay.
Yeah, I don't think we can under the GDPR.
I would question whether it would be cost effective to sue them.
Yeah.
Certainly not, even in a small claims court.
Mm.
So can we have a seconder and proposer and seconder to
Can we
write these
just,
debts
can
off?
we, I'll be allowed to have any more, you don't need the name of the person, but the 470, was that sort of a regular weekly booking or?
I
It's
don't
like
know, and
It's quite a
I'm not
lot of
sure
money, it's
how
sort of-
old it is.
it was-
2021.
Yeah,
3 years old.
yeah, I think they've been trying to recover it ever since.
Yeah, so
I think it was a
easily been-
regular hire.
Could have been a group
Yeah.
that's defunct and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
So as you said earlier, if we're going to write these off, can we make sure that we are listing these people and checking against them with new hires so that they don't get back to do the same again?
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because Mike was presumably around in 2021, was he?
Yes, I think he just started. It was just when he took over. Yeah.
okay.
They're not so much blacklisted as, oh, there's some outstanding money.
Mm.
If you want to book the hall again, you can pay your bad
Anyway,
debt.
Yeah,
I'm assuming we can unwrite it off later.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does raise some other issues. What steps do we take on a routine basis to chase bad debts or slow payers?
On the whole, every month we send out our invoices, and if there's somebody who hasn't paid, Mike gets on the phone and chases. We have had one situation where somebody was paying into the wrong account, and that was an error on their part. But it is chased on a regular basis. Mike is very on the ball with it, shall we say? And at the moment, I don't think we've got any problems with any of the hirers. I think they're all paying on the dot.
If it's an ad hoc one, so somebody just says, I want to hire the hall
Mm,
for 3 weeks next Saturday,
mm.
do we take money in advance on those?
No,
No, we don't.
because I've just hired it recently, so I can tell you
Yeah,
exactly the
you should.
process
Yeah.
that you go through as
Yeah.
a hirer.
We should, I mean, maybe there should be a policy, so certainly for ad hoc hirers to,
Mhm.
to charge in advance.
Yeah.
Or at least make a deposit.
I was expecting to be asked for a deposit
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Given that the sums are not usually very large, it's
Yeah.
typically £50 or so, isn't it?
Mm.
I can see that. I don't believe that we will be causing hardship by asking people to pay in advance.
Because also if you were asked to pay a percentage up front as deposit, that's a non-refundable deposit
Mhm.
for the admin time that it's
Is it
costed to be
gamble?
able to set it up, I think
Mhm.
that's a completely realistic thing to
Yes.
do. And as a
Yeah.
hirer, I was expecting that.
Mhm.
Yeah, a few years back, I hired Clarence House, the hall in Clarence House, and they certainly wanted a fee up front for it. Yeah, there was no I'll pay you later. It was like, no, you pay, if you want it booked, you pay,
Mm.
it was the full amount.
Absolutely.
Mm.
I think we'll get that message across to Mike.
Sure, no problem.
It might be slightly different for regular users who use it
Yeah,
every
yeah.
week to bill them once a month.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
But
ad
as
ad
John
hoc
said,
ones, you
ad
don't want
hoc,
to take the
yeah.
risk, yeah.
I think that £76 one was an ad hoc one.
Okay. The other thought that occurs to me is that if you look in the sales ledger reports, which I do,
Mhm.
there are quite a few older debts which are not recommended for being written off.
Okay,
Do you know why?
no, I don't know why, but I will investigate for you. Do you
No,
know how long they're going back to, John?
I only know what's in the reports that Rachel sends me.
Right,
And it just says more than 3 months old.
okay,
Are they amounting to quite a bit?
It's about £1,000 or so.
So you need the age debtors list then,
That
really,
is
don't
the
you?
age debtors list.
yeah,
So the age debtors list should run over periods from 3 months to X number of
Well,
years, surely.
This one runs only 1, 2 or 3 months or older.
Just older than 3
Oh,
months, yeah.
Yes.
I will
Yeah,
find out.
maybe we could do a
And I
couple more
certainly
columns
I
of that
recognise
one.
the 470 and the 76 as being older.
I'll find out.
So I'd like to know about the others.
Sure.
Okay. Are there any more points that people want to raise about the list of transactions, the pay award and the sales ledger? Can we all propose and second them all in one item?
Yes, if
Okay.
everyone is happy,
Thank you, Mike.
thank you.
Everybody's seconding. Did you have a vote, by the way, on any of the other items? Right, well, all those in favour, please. Thank you. Right, date of next meeting?
We've scheduled next meeting.
Yes, right. That's now the 4th of December, I believe.
Yes,
And time is, will be
6 o'clock on the 4th,
6 o'clock. And that will be there to discuss
the VAT.
VAT.
Mhm.
And is there anything to stop us discussing the tender if there's anything to be said about that?
We can put that on there as well, John, yeah, that's fine. Just got to bear in mind that we have got another meeting straight after it, so.
So it's before the planning.
It is, yeah.
Right. Okay, now we can tell the oi polloi to get out of here and stop recording.
Okay. Do you want to do a proposer and a seconder for that, John? Just
Right, then
thank you,
may I have a proposer and a seconder
thank you,
and a vote?
thank you,
They've all gone.
thank you. Mhm.
Right.